When in Sierra Leone, we went to Guinea, which is so cool to go to another country in Africa, and it's so wildly different than Sierra Leone, even though we just stepped into Guinea for not but 5 minutes. But the closer you get north to Guinea, the more the culture changes, as what happens when you get close to the border of any neighboring country. But it was so interesting because, well, we took some roads all the way there, but they weren't bumpy and awful roads. Rather, they were very well paved. I was kind of surprised. It turned out that the mining companies that mined gold and diamonds in Sierra Leone, they built all of these roads, or at least the major roads that went to their mining facilities. And so if you could stay on those roads, it was wonderful. But once you got off those roads, speed bumps everywhere. It was awful. Well, we made our way all the way north, and that was quite an adventure. Sierra Leone is the land of, well, I've mentioned balance. They just balance everything on their heads. But also it's the land of checkpoints. Now, it occurred to me there that a checkpoint is basically a roadblock, only it's legal. You can get away with it. And so when you're driving along this road in this jungle out in the middle of nowhere, and you come across these little kids who have just patched up some potholes in this dirt road, you can tell they just grabbed some weeds and then just threw them into the potholes. And then they strung a line across the road. And the oldest one, who was probably 11 years old, he had a machete. Of course, you know, he was the one who meant business. He was probably calling all the shots. Well, we came across this roadblock, checkpoint, and these little kids, these little hoodlums, they demanded money from us. And it was because they needed money to continue the road work that they were doing. Isn't that just nice of them? Just so sweet. Later on, I kind of equated it to playing cops and robbers with your friends, only they were playing robbers in real life and really trying to extort money from people on the road. The thing is that what also makes it a roadblock is when you put something that literally blocks the road, like a flaming tire. When I was in Togo, that's what was blocking some of the roads. Or an oil drum, or a flaming bus. You know what I mean? Those are true roadblocks. But these kids just had a little string that they had pulled across the road. Actually, these specific kids didn't. Another group of hoodlums had a string. These kids, I remember, actually had a vine that they got out of the jungle, and they just strung it across the road. And so we didn't want to run over their vine, even though you very well could just blast right on through them. But you know, we didn't. We wanted to be polite, and so we stopped and rolled down the window. And the way to sort of get around all of these roadblocks, checkpoints, is and this is really awful, but you act like an ignorant American. Now, I knew what was going on. I graduated from college with a fairly decent GPA. I know how to work in life. I don't need to be all like, I'm super smart or anything. But seriously, I know when someone's trying to hoodwink me. Unless I purposefully feign as if I'm being just this complete bumbling idiot. And so you come up to these people, you roll down your window with the biggest smile you can muster, and you shake their hand, and if they have a giant machete, then you just get really wide eyes and go, wow, you have a knife, and just not in a mocking sort of way, but genuinely happy to see them. And I find that it's extremely difficult for someone to rob you when you're happy about being robbed. It worked. Like every single time. In all of my travels to all of these third world developing nations, not once have I ever had to bribe anyone. Even though it may be considered the norm in a situation. It's like, oh yeah, everybody bribes these people. They're administrative fees. They're not bribes. But I have never ever succumbed to giving them extra money. And that's a little badge that I will wear on my vest for probably until the next time I go to a third world country. Then I'll have to give him like $2,000 probably to save my life. But for now, I've got a great track record. So back to these little kids who were extorting us. We stopped and said, hello, howdy buddy. And, they were trying to be really grim and gruff. And, he was just kind of thumbing his machete with the tip of his thumb. And they're like, oh, I could use this on you. Like, really, kid? We could gun it and squish all of you and your little vine across the road. But we won't. So we were happy to them and talking with them. And they would not let us go. So they demanded 4,000 Leone, which is basically $1 back then. They wanted $1. Really, it's no big deal. And many of you may be like, just give the little kids $1, okay? They're poor kids, which they are. But it's the principle of it. You don't want to create this stigma that wherever white people go, you just give them a bad time and they'll give you money. You don't want to do that. Not only for future when you go back to visit, because I do. They're wonderful people. I love Sierra Leone. But for the sake of other foreigners who are going to be going there, don't give in for the sake of other people, okay? Just stay strong. But you can still get around it by being joyful. And so there we were, pluckily laughing and everything, slowly starting to inch our van towards their vine, and they saw that, they're actually moving the vehicle. So we ended up not giving them anything. They let us through. However, we had to go back that way because the village we were going to was basically a dead end. So we came across these same little hoodlums again. They were still out there, the exact same potholes that they had patched, just sitting there on the side of the road, seeing if they can get some money from people. And so we came up to them coming in the opposite direction. We were like, oh boy, here we go again. And then they were like, oh, we're gonna get something from them now. Well, previously we had purchased some lunch and some snacks, and we actually got some popcorn, a really good popcorn. I don't know how they make it, but it's so good. I think they cook it over an open fire because it kind of has this smoky flavor to it. It's really good popcorn. And so we just had like maybe 10 or 15 kernels left, barely anything. And these little kids said, there they were again, being all angry, like, give us money, give us 4,000, give us 4,000. And Lewis, I was just being like, no, hey, how you doing? Oh, let me tell you a joke. So a duck walks into a bar, goes up to the bartender. They have no idea what you're talking about. They're crazy. Just let them go. They're crazy. Except Lewis, he took this popcorn and he was like, here, how will this do? Which we bought the popcorn for like 500, which would be what? A few cents. Really not anything. And I remember this kid, he took the popcorn and with a really grim expression on his face, he said, let them through! And then all the other little kids scampered along and went and, took down the vine and everything like that. It's like, they got their popcorn. They can go by. This is legit right here. This is a legit payment. And, so technically Lewis bribed them. I did not. I had no hand in that. But so there you go. Whenever you're traveling, just be happy, be joyful, and if you have to bribe someone, maybe it's culturally acceptable that you do. That's your prerogative. But for me, I get certain pleasure getting around that. Even if they detain me for a good hour or two, I'm okay with that.